Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, good morning. In this time I want to make a video again that is about a book review, and in this time I want to show you about a textbook review by Peter Trudgill. The title of this book is about sociolinguistics, which is introduced to language and society. So before go to the review, let me introduce myself. I'm Nafi Maulina Afni from 4D class of English Education Department, UIN Syarif Hidayatullah, Jakarta. Okay, let's start to the video. The title of this book is about sociolinguistics, an introduction of language and society. I want to read some biography about Peter Trudgill. Peter Trudgill is an English sociolinguist, academic, and author. Trudgill was born in Norwich, England, and grew up at the area through as the Andrew. He attended the City of Norwich School from 1955. Trudgill studied modern languages at King College, Cambridge, and obtained a PhD from the University of Edinburgh in 1971. Before becoming the professor of linguistics at the University of Essex, he taught the Department of Linguistic Science at the University of Reading from 1970 until 1986. He was professor of the English language and linguistics at the University of Lausanne, Switzerland from 1993 to 1998. Okay, now I want to share about the content of this book. This book is for edition by Peter Trudgill and was published at 2000, and this book has 210 pages and have 10 chapters in it. The first chapter of this book is about sociolinguistics and society, in the introduce, and the second is about language and social class, and the third is about language and ethnic group, and the fourth is about language and sex, and next language and content, language and social interaction, language and nation, language and geography, language and contact, and the last is language and humanity. So the characteristic of this book is show that Peter Trudgill examines the close link between the language and society, and the many factors of the influence that we can speak of this book. This range from gender, environment, age, race, class, region, and politics. Trudgill's book is survey language and society from all over the world, drawing and the fascinating chapter of the development language and the result of non-native speaker of use it. Okay, so let's start about the reviewing every chapter of this book, and I will give you some synopsis, a little synopsis of every chapter. So let's start about the first chapter is about sociolinguistic language and society. The question of this chapter is about what is the definition and the importance of sociolinguistic and society. Sociolinguistic in general definition is about communicating information about the weather of any other subject and maintaining relationship with other people. The important aspect of sociolinguistics are the function of language and in establishing social relationship and role played by language in conveying information about the speaker. And the second chapter is about language and social class. So how does language used in social class? It's very interesting. There are grammatical, phonetic, phonological differences between the speech of the two speakers, which give the clues about their social background and class social content. And the third chapter is about language and ethnic group. What are the type of cases where language is identifying ethnic group? The first type of case in individual will identify themselves as belonging to the particular ethnic group or tribe based on their mother tongue. And second type of the case is the different varieties of the same language, the maintenance of the social class, this dialect. Okay, for the next chapter of this book is about language and sex. The question is how language is used between women and men. And why do men and women often speak differently? So for the example of this book, there are the kind of differences that have been reported, and attempt to see what factor may have been important in this development. The classic example of linguistic sex differentiation, well-known student of language, come from the West Indies. It was often reported that when European first arrived in the Lesser Antilles and made contact with the Carib Indian who lived there, and they discovered that the man and woman spoke different languages. This would of course have been the very startling discovery, and one that does not appear to have been paralyzed anywhere else. So one that does not appear to have been differentiations be found to be so great that people have been led to propose that there were actually distinct men's and women's languages. However, it does seem that this report or later establishment of were stretching things somewhat about the contemporary report from the 17th century. Okay, so for the fifth chapter is about language and context. So what is the connection between language and context? The language is used by the speaker according to the situation and purpose. One of the most important factors connected with the situation is formality. Formality is not in fact something that is easy to define with any degree of the precision, largely because it submisses very many factors including situations, social formality, kinship, relationship, politeness, seriousness, and so on. And so for the next chapter is about language and social interaction. What is the relations between language and social interaction? The study of the way in which language is used, the conversation of this and many other types, is the important part of sociolinguistics. Sociolinguists have looked at which language can be used for manipulating relationships and achieving particular goals. And they have also looked at a role for the condition and interpretation of the conversation generally, at the way these many differ from society to society. Okay, so for the seventh chapter is about language and nations. What is the relationship between language and nationalism? The social and linguistic homogeneity of nation-states is radically challenged as the world we inhabited is becoming increasingly interconnected. At the same time, nationalist sentiments are gained and strength, promoting the idea of the nation as the linguistically and socioculturally coherent community. Closely entwined, the social and language process lie at the heart of the ongoing struggle over the status of the nation-state. Yet the interplay between the process of present virtually unresearched and severely under-theorized. leaving the fundamental gap in the understanding of contemporary social change. And this is given to field by working contemporarily toward the coherent account of how language is used in everyday life, is implicated in going social change. So for the next chapter is about language and geography. What is the reason of the impact of geography on language? Social and linguistic reason for the development of regional differences of the type are complex and by no means completely understood. They are clearly the result of the language changing of different way in different place, but the actual process of linguistic change is something we have still to learn about. Much a good example for linguist innovation that has been subject to this kind of process of the loss of language pronunciation of R in word like card or chart. The reason of this difference between urban or ritual accent is linguistic innovation. The other innovation after the spread of one urban center of another and only later spread off into the surrounding countryside, and this due to the general economic demography and the cultural dominates the tones over the country and the structure of the communications network, or often say lingua franca. So for the last chapter is about language and humanity. How has language transformed humanity? The sociolinguistic fact that language issue can bring out the worst as well as the best in human being, and some people who would otherwise pride themselves to being intelligent and rational can behave the most illogical way on being intelligent when it comes language to language issue. Have one of the things that language in general sociolinguistic in particular have tried to do over the years to encourage people to think more sensible way about language issue by providing them with more information about the language. And this is important for a sort reason to do the fairness, equality, and even future humanity. One of the irritation attitude toward language to have city has a basis in fact, but they have all of short of unfortunate consequence. Okay, that's about all the chapter synopsis. I think I'm very interested about this book because this book have a clearly explanation and clearly example. So I will give this rate of this book 1 to 5. I will give 4 star. Okay everyone, maybe that's all from me. I hope this video can be useful for us and give you many information about language and sociolinguistics. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And keep spirit, stay healthy, and see you next time.